Hello, 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 and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. We're here. I talk Ohio State Buckeyes. Talking Buckeyes from the fans' point of view. Talking Buckeyes and college sports in general from the fans' point of view. Touching on those hot topics going on in the world of college sports. Trying to grow here in 2024, like you may know. Been trying to grow this out. So appreciate all the folks that have been with me this whole time, but trying to expand some. I do a little bit more than just Ohio State stuff. So I'll be making comments here and there on what's trending in the world of college sports. So again, if you're feeling what you're hearing as you look at this, please hit that like button. If you enjoy Buckeye content in general, college sports in general from a different perspective, so say, please hit that subscribe button. So please hit that subscribe button. Help a brother keep growing this thing out, keep growing it out. So when I sat down to do this video, I was going to start off talking about some of the coaches changes that we seen on the football field. Cause you know it's football, but recent developments. I'm going to shift the order just a little bit, and we're going to have to get on the hardwood to see what changes just happened there on the basketball court. Yes, Chris Holtman is out, fired after 7 seasons with Ohio State. Shocking to some, not to others. Some thought, why didn't it happen not longer ago? Should have happened already. I was somewhat surprised by it, being that Gene Smith does have one foot out the door. But as Gene Smith said, he wanted to give the guys a chance to do something this year. And Holtman, he said he was blindsided by it. We don't know what conversations go on between the coaches and the ADs and whatnot, but he can't be totally shocked about what happened, given how the team has performed the last several seasons. I mean, when Holtman came in, I think he was a good hire at the time. That Mata, given his health issues, you could see it was affecting his coaching, his ability to recruit. And Ohio State really wasn't good the last few years of Mata's tenure here. And a lot of that was health related. You could see him on the sidelines. He was laboring during the games, and I think it affected Ohio State. So they bring in Holtman, got off to a great start, got us back into the tournament because I believe we had missed it the previous 2 seasons under Mata, and he got off to a decent start. Fast forward to where we're at now with Holtman, and his 7-year tenure has not gone the way I thought even Holtman would have liked it to go. A lot of Ohio State fans were left wanting more, and at the end of the day, he had 137 wins versus 86 losses, about a 61% clip winning percentage. And the thing that really stood out about Holtman was his performance in the tournament when he did get us back there, but unfortunately Chris Holtman could never get us past the second round. He never got us past around the 32. And in some of those games, we were the favorite team, and we got up. Teams upset us. One that really sticks out to me is the Oral Roberts win when they knocked us off in the first round, and it was like it was been down. It hasn't been good for Holtman ever since. And then going in this season, I thought this team is a good team. I mean, they knocked off Alabama earlier in the season. They won one of those preseason holiday tournaments where they knocked off Alabama, who was ranked at the time, and they looked really good. They brought in Jamison Battle, who is the best 3-point shooter in the conference, at least percentage-wise. They have Thornton, who's a really good point guard. Pera has really improved. I thought this was a really, really good team at the start of the season. And I don't know where it went wrong, but the problems that Holtman's team has had over the past several seasons has crept up again this season. They cannot close out games. They cannot close out games at all, and as a result, they were 30-30 over the last 2 seasons. And like I say, after that win over Bama earlier in the season, it's just been downhill ever since. Our record losing streak was 16-17 straight losses on the road. And a lot of that is they just cannot hold leads. How many 18. I'm not talking about little leagues. You talk 18-point leads, double-digit leads, where they lose in the last 10 minutes of the game. I think the Penn State game stands out this year as one of those big leads they lost. Indiana, another one. Big lead, let Indiana come back. They just could not close out games. And I think ultimately that was Chris Holtman's downfall. And you got Gene Smith said, all right, enough. I think if Gene really had his way, he probably would have preferred to walk out the door without having to make any of these type of decisions, because Gene got, he got one foot out the door. So I was somewhat surprised he made the move now, but in his press conference he said he wanted to give these guys a chance to do something with the remainder of the year. So bring in Jake Diebler, John's brother. We all remember John Diebler, who's part of Mata's staff, talking about that Mata, who got things going on. He got his health together and got things going on at Butler. So in steps Jake Diebler. And he's excited. Anytime the interim, you got that interim tag, and anytime you replace the person that your head coach, he stepped into the interim head coach, there's always those bittersweet feelings. And no different with Jake. He's had to see Holtman go, but he's excited about his opportunity and what he can do moving forward. And his first time out the gate, did it get any harder than that? The number 2 team in the land coming into your house, and you got to see what you can do. Not too much time to put his stamp on it, so still going with a lot of Holtman's philosophies. He may change up some stuff little here and there, but it's not like he had a lot of time to make major changes. He's pretty much going to have to play out Holtman's system the rest of the year. He did express he wanted his team to play with a little more up-tempo style, a little more energy. And what better way to test it out against the number 2 team coming into your house. And so we got to see Diebler in his debut as Ohio State interim coach go up against Jack Edey and the number 2 Purdue team, and got off to a slow start. They were able to fight their way back and had the lead. Got to the point where they had the lead going into the fourth quarter, built it up to 12 points, I believe, because Jamison Battle went scoreless in the first half, got hot in the second half, and he was just nailing 3. I think he made 3 straight 3-pointers or something to put Ohio State up by 12. And then you know what happened. What always happened with Holtman's teams, Purdue started clawed back, fought their way back, made the plays, and next thing you know it, that 12-point lead, we tied up with a minute or so to go. It's like, here we go again, because that's how it was with Holtman. He'd get the lead, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was just a matter of when Ohio State was going to end up finding a way to lose. And more times than not, Holtman's team found a way to lose games which they should have won. So it's almost like, here we go again. They're up. Purdue done clawed their way back. We're in foul trouble. Who's going to make the play down the stretch? This time, big difference so far. One game. They kept their composure. They didn't get rattled. They made the plays down the stretch and actually pulled out the win over the number 2 team in the country. And I think if Holtman is still there on the sideline, I almost want to say we wouldn't even be in position to win the game. That's how much I had lost faith in Holtman's and his ability down the stretch. When Purdue went up in the first half by 8 or something points, that was under Holtman, that pretty much would have been the ball game. But Jake, he got him to fight back. And of course, and some of this lies on the players, because deep down, if you're a player, you just got your coach fired. For all intents and purposes, you weren't performing under Chris Holtman, and you got to lay bare some of that responsibility. You guys just got your coach fired. Where's the leadership on that team to step up? And Painter even made comments about it. These are the type of games you always worry about. that first game after this type of change is made, because they're going to come out hyped up, energized, and because they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. They just got their coach fired, and they're going to be ready to play and give it their best shot. And Jake had them ready to play, and they gave it their best shot, and lo and behold, they pulled off the win. It's just something that Ohio State's done well over the years, be the number 1 team, number 2 team. When they go into to Columbus to play, more times than not, they put the graphic up there. I forgot the screenshot of it, but Ohio State, more times than not, they're really good at knocking off number 1, number 2 squads, especially when they're unranked. They've done it time and time again, going all the way back to the 3-pointers by Chris Gent. So it was not totally unexpected, but they pulled it off. And again, Holtman, and like I said, Holtman got off to a good start here in this tenure, but things just a lot of it's timing with Holtman. He can never get the tournament past 32 teams, and that's probably his best team got canceled because of COVID. We probably would have been able to make a deep run with that team, but COVID hit and the tournament got canceled, and they weren't his best team. Unlike another thing that went against Holtman is he had players leaving early that he probably didn't anticipate leaving early. I mean, if E.J. Liddell had stayed around, who knows what had happened. But the ones that really hurt was Malachi Branham and then Bryce Sensabaugh, because those guys should be, junior, sophomores this season. But they both left early, and I know Bryce leaving early, that caught everyone off guard. Malachi, you probably had a thing he might go, but Bryce Sensabaugh really caught him off guard leaving, I think. And it's not like Thad had to deal with it too. Greg Old and Conley, that group, a lot of them left. But Thad, before his health issues, he was able to replenish and keep going. Holtman, not so much. And I think that was ultimately his downfall. He couldn't replenish his folks. Couldn't close out games. Hence the losing streak on the road. Hence 30-30 over the 30 wins, 30 losses over the past 2 seasons. It's just not a good look. And I'm sorry, but Ohio State, I know we're a football school first and foremost, but you cannot tell me that with our resources, the in-state talent, that Ohio State should be a perennial top 20 team year in and year out, regardless of who the coach is. There's just too much at Ohio State for us not to be a perennial top 20 program year in and year out. I don't care if you got folks leaving early. It shouldn't matter. It should not matter. And Chris Holtman, he dropped the ball. Normally, you know me, I don't normally advocate for folks being let go, but they were just underperforming way too much for it to continue like that. And I think he couldn't close out games. Like my man mentioned here, you cannot close out games. That was one thing to see. At least in his first game, Jake got his team to close out the game. They closed it out. Is he auditioning for the permanent job? I mean, he's for all intents and purposes, a legacy recruit. Not a recruit, but a legacy. And you had John Diebler on the staff. Jake's his brother. And like I said, John's on Butler's staff. Who knows if he ends out the year strong, because probably the only way Ohio State's getting into the tournament now is they're going to have to win the Big Ten tournament. They have the talent to do it. They really do. It's just a matter, is it a case of too little, too late? Maybe Gene should have pulled the trigger sooner. I don't know, but Jake, they brought up some big names who could come into Ohio State, but if Jake can finish out this season strong, maybe bring John aboard. I don't know, but the debut was good against the number 2 team. It don't get better than that. You beat the number 2 team at home, and you did what the previous coach couldn't do, and now it's close out a game. So with that, I think he did good. He's off to a good start, but we've seen good starts before. Chris Holtman got off to a good start. So we'll see how this finishes. I'm actually rooting for him. Could be one of those things in the needles in the haystacks where he comes out and blossoms. So we'll see. We'll see. He could be the Tressel of basketball, because Tressel came out of nowhere and just elevated Ohio State, and maybe Jake can have the same effect with the basketball team. So we will see. But he's off to a good start. And Gene's going to let the guy Bjork. I can't never pronounce that. He's going to, even though Gene did the firing, he's going to let Bjork do the hiring. He said he's going to advise him, but it's going to be the new AD's thing to see what we're going to do with Jake, depending on how the year finishes out, who's out there available, and who knows, Jake might be trying to play his way into a permanent coaching role, coach's way into a permanent coaching role if these guys continue to respond to him. Because if you can beat the number 2 team, you can beat anybody. I'm just saying. If you can beat the number 2 team, you can beat anybody. And I think he's off to a great start. And we're going to see once the hype or whatnot replacing Holtman. Because like I said, they're always energized after that first game. But what are they going to be 3-4 games down the road with Jake? If they're still playing with that same type of intensity and energy, he may have a good shot to land him a permanent coaching job. So that is a wait and see thing, how that's going to play out. I'm rooting for him. He's a Diebler, brother of John Diebler. If that can get John back on campus, hey, I'm all for it. So good luck to him and the Buckeyes the rest of the way. Now, what I really originally was going to start off with, was it going to be just touching real quick on the coaching changes that happened on the other side. Well, down the hall, what's going on with the football team? First and foremost, just want to touch on the portal. I believe it officially closed a few weeks ago, and Ohio State got off to a slow start. But boy, did we finish up strong. People were complaining about us in the portal, us in the transfer thing, us in NIL. I don't know what happened, what clicked, or what prompted it to get it going. But Will Howard, Judkins, that was just the start of it. Next thing you know, we getting McLaughlin. And then to finish it all off, not only we get Caleb Downs, but Julian Sand. That is a mighty good haul for the transfer portal. And then you also got the tight end Kazmarek, I believe that's coming over from the University of Ohio, I think, but which is a good addition because Stover is gone. I think we had lost another one of our tight ends to the transfer portal. Some of that slow start we got off to because we had guys leaving left and right and not much coming in. But when they started coming in, boy, did they come in. So when all said and done, our portal was looking good. Looking so good. Some folks are saying we opened up the bank. I ain't a baseball person, but I ain't a baseball person per se. I don't follow it, but I'm assuming based on this post by somebody, the Dodgers be opening up their bank, their pocketbooks, and just throwing money to folks. And that's what was the sentiment here. Ohio State finally opened up the portal or opened up their pocketbooks and opened up some NIL deals and got that stuff going. So much so people thought we were just breaking the bank our own selves. And maybe so as compared to years past, Ohio State's finally said, hey, we better get with it or we're going to get left behind. So portal or not, I don't know, NIL or not. I do know they got some new NIL folks in place. They got a whole thing in place strictly to deal with NIL stuff. So if this last transfer haul is a part of that, so be it. I don't know where we were at before in terms of NIL spending, but we're firmly in the top 5 according to some of the posts I've been seeing. You would have thought we were number 1 in terms of NIL spending, but no, that's not the case. It's still the SEC. They still number 1 in terms of spending, but you see Ohio State's right up there, number 4. And in terms of NIL spending this year, and like I previously said, even with all the NIL stuff, sometimes it's not always about the money. Sometimes folks want to go where they can actually win. Case in point, Judkins here. I'm sure he's the best running back in the SEC. Best one. Now you mean to tell me the SEC schools, those schools down there could not come up with the money to keep the best running back in the conference, and of all places, you think they wanted to see him go to a Big Ten school? And of all schools, you think they wanted to see him go to Ohio State? No, if they had their way, he would still be in the SEC somewhere, if not Ole Miss. Again, it's not always about the money. I mean, Henderson, at the time, I don't even know if Henderson had declared yet what he was going to do, but Judkins didn't care. He said, I'm coming to Ohio State because they have a culture of winning. Outside of the SEC, what school, or outside of the schools in the SEC, what school, for the most part, has a chance to play for the national championship literally every single year? Save for the last season or so. But other than that, you can almost bank Ohio State's going to be in the college football playoffs because they've been in it almost every year, save a few years. Ohio State, outside of the SEC, Ohio State's about the only school that can say that. Clemson could, but Clemson done fell off. They might get back there, but I don't know. And that's in the watered down ACC. But Ohio State's the one school you can almost be guaranteed they're going to be in position to get in the playoffs and play for a national championship. And Judkins saw that, say, I'm going here. Y'all keep y'all money. I'm coming to Ohio State and see what we can do. And they got Henderson. Saves wear and tear on his body because no running backs, they get beat up. But I mean, if I'm down, I want me another running back. I don't need to be the bellwether cow. Running back, especially not in college. Even though the NIL deal does make it a little bit easier. The NIL money makes it a little bit easier, but they try to save their body for the pros. So if you got you another running back there that can help share carries, why not go there? And again, I think they are immediately the best running back combination in the country, period. So not always about the NIL, but he probably got compensated pretty well. And that just goes to show SEC coming to Ohio State. How many players did we get out of the SEC this year? 3 of them from Bama. What's that tell you? They athletes know Nick Saban gone. He retired. And what's the next best program? They weren't sure about the coach coming in. Not only did we get Caleb Downs, probably the best defender, least best freshman defender in the country last year. He decided to come. And then Julian Sayin, that's the one that shocked me. Because we already got Air Nolan in the mix. And Sayin came here anyway. Now he is either extremely confident that nobody can hold a candle to him, or he just wanted to come to Ohio State because our quarterback room is loaded, because Will Howard had already said he's coming here and he's probably going to be the starter next year. And Sayin came here anyway, and that was Air Nolan already committed, and got Devin Brown and Lincoln Kineholtz coming back. That quarterback room rivals our wide receiver room. Just let that, our quarterback room right now rivals our wide receiver room. Now come spring ball, will they all be there? I don't see 5 quarterbacks of that caliber staying around. I just don't. I don't know how the portal, when it opens, closes, but after the spring game, if it opens back up, 1, 2, maybe 3 of these quarterbacks are going to be gone. 2 at a minimum. No way all 5 quarterbacks are staying. Not in this day and age. Nope. I don't see it. But for now, that is an impressive quarterback room. Ain't no way around that. Man, whew, that is a big quarterback room. So we did good in the portal when it's all said and done. So all those folks were worrying about Ohio State was going to do during the transfer portal era, during the NIL era. I think we got a glimpse of it this season, and maybe it may have been out of necessity, desperation, because Ryan Day, even though I don't think he's in danger of losing anything, he started feeling some heat. You lose 3 years in a row to Michigan, you're going to feel some heat. And he started feeling some heat. So he said, do what we got to do to get us the players here. and it happened. They got them some players through that portal. Their best portal haul had. If they were just doing portal rankings on portal alone, they have to be number one. Have to be. How could they not be? And speaking of Ryan Day, maybe to save his job, folks are calling him. Like I said, I never thought he was in danger, but folks definitely wanted him to give up the play calling stuff. Most definitely. Because I question some of Ryan Day's play calling, and I'm a staunch defender of Ryan Day, but some of his play calling would have you scratching my head like, what the hell did you do that for? So I think he did a good thing. He went out and got him an offensive coordinator to come in and do that for him so he could focus on some other stuff. Now this is where it started to get weird, because he brought in Bill O'Brien. And that's part of the reason why I was reading somewhere that Julian saying he wanted to come here. He wanted to work with someone with Bill O'Brien's experience. Now, some folks, some Ohio State fans, as they want to do, we know how us fans are, they didn't like to hire. Well, Bill O this, Bill that, Bill that. Well, that was when he was a head coach. He may not have the best record as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, he damn good. You don't work with the likes of Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, if you can't run an offense. And that's part of what I think was the draw was that brought Julian Sand, at least from the stuff I was reading, that brought him here. But of course, as we all know, that didn't last too long, because before he could even dot the I or whatnot, he's off to Boston College to be their head coach. I know Boston College has a thing about Ohio State coaches. Ain't that like the third or fourth one they got from Ohio State to go be their head coach? But anyway, Bill O'Brien, before he really got on campus, before he could do anything, he's off to Boston College to coach. And some of it might be because I believe he has some health issues within the family. So Boston College is an opportunity for him to be closer to home. If that's the case, so be it. Don't ever knock someone for they're doing stuff for health reasons, be it family or themselves or whatever. So if that's the case, wish him well. And you got to do what you got to do, both as a coach and as a player. And as a coach, he thought that was a better spot for him to go. So it's like, well, okay, what's Ohio State going to do now? Bill O'Brien is gone. That would have been a perfect. I like to hire Bill O'Brien. Like, how are they going to replace Bill O'Brien? Well, dang. Lo and behold, they don't go out and get probably another top-notch offensive coordinator in Chip Kelly. And what's surprising there is that he, for all intents and purposes, took a demotion because he was the head coach at UCLA, and he said, I'm good. Either he knew he was on his way out or whatever the circumstances might be, but you don't often see a head coach leave without being fired. You don't see a head coach leave on his own, just become an offensive coordinator someplace else. You thought he would have either gotten fired first, but he handed in his resignation in lieu of firing. I don't know. But I know he took a demotion, so to speak, to become offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Teaming back up with Ryan Day. Again, I like this hire better than the Bill O'Brien hire. If I'm being honest, and I am. Chip Kelly he knows how to run an offense. Ryan Day to stay out of his way and let Chip Kelly run that offense. I think the offense, you're going to see him exponentially better in terms of a lot of stuff than what they were last year. People are trying to say, well, he's soft. UCLA had one of the better rushing offenses last year. Zach Charbonnet under Chip Kelly had a great year. Dorian Thompson-Robinson had a great year. Talking about utilizing a running quarterback, well, that's what we have now. In our last few seasons, like I said, as good as C.J. Stroud is, and you see him tearing it up in the NFL, C.J. Stroud was never, ever going to run the ball. Never, ever. Kyle McCord, I don't think he has the ability to run the ball. And that was the knock against those two. They wouldn't run the ball. Will Howard, he can run the ball. He's a true dual threat quarterback, probably the first we've had since Justin Fields. He can run the ball. He'll be another threat. in the running game, something we haven't had for the past several seasons. And Chip Kelly knows how to use those types of quarterbacks because he's done it at UCLA. Got DTR drafted. Browns drafted him, and a lot of that has to do with how he was utilized at UCLA with Chip Kelly. So I think our offense is going to be really, really good. Really, really good, our offense. Then we made some other hires. Then stop there, Chip Kelly. James Laurinaitis, I think, finally got promoted. I think Ryan Day saw him interviewing some NFL teams like, yo, wait a minute. It's time to go ahead and promote James Laurinaitis. And he is now our full-fledged linebackers coach. I think that's a great hire. And a video way back when I said, bring James Laurinaitis on, make him a full member of the staff, and hopefully he can have an effect on the linebacker room that Brian Hartline has had on the wide receiver room. Because if we're able to do that, boom. And he has some pieces to work with. I think Sonny Styles is moving down the linebacker. Still got CJ. Still got Gay Power. One of them, I can't remember which one left. But we got some linebackers lined up ready to go. And it's great that Laurinaitis is being recognized as a full-time coach. But we've also extended contract extensions to Tim Walton, Larry Johnson, Kenny Bailey. And the interesting thing about all these coaching hires and extensions is the one they did along the defensive line. They brought in Tony Johnson, had him on the staff as an analyst. Because there's been a lot of talk, and Tony Johnson is Larry Johnson's son. There's been a lot of talk about Larry Johnson, even though he got the contract extension. A lot of talk about Larry Johnson getting up in years. He may not have the energy to keep doing what he's doing, because a lot of recruits come here to work with Larry Johnson because he's that good. But like all things, you ain't as energized as you used to be. Folks may not want to be as eager to come here, but you bring on his son to the staff and he can start teaching his son and building his son up, that if and when Larry Johnson does retire, his son's already on staff. Smooth transition, and then that's what I'm thinking. Smooth transition for when Larry Johnson finally does decide to step down. His son is there to take over, and there's no upheaval amongst the recruits. They say we can get the knowledge from a younger version of Larry Johnson. So I hope that's what's happening with that particular hire, bringing Tony Johnson on as an analyst to the Ohio State staff, so he can work under his father, learn under him, and eventually, who knows, take over for him and keep that D line moving along, keep those defensive ends moving along with no little stuff going along the way. Because we saw what happened when Saban retired. That's why we got Caleb Downs and Julian Sain, and when now folks started leaving left and right. But if Tony Johnson can come in, he has an ounce of the knowledge that his dad does. That should be a smooth transition if and when Larry Johnson does decide to move on. Now, for all the coaching stuff going on in football, there's one person that folks are still surprised is on the staff. Now, all this great offensive stuff, we got the receiver room, we got the running back, got the quarterbacks. Y'all know where I'm going. Offensive line. Justin Fry. Some are wondering why is he still there. If there was any position that needed to be upgraded in terms of coaching, it was the offensive line. And it's hard to argue. But in Justin's defense, and it's hard to argue for Justin's defense, it just happens that Jim Knowles had an outstanding second season as a coach. His defense improved drastically. And when you compare how his defense improved to what Justin Fry's offensive line did, yeah, it's going to allow people. If Jim Knowles can do that with a whole defense, why can't you do this with just the offensive line? I think the timing was it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And to some extent, I am sort of surprised Justin Fry is still there, like some other folks are surprised Justin Fry is still there. Because all that offensive stuff don't mean nothing if Justin Fry can't get that offensive line up and running. And people say it's the talent. I don't want to hear that. We got 4 and 5 stars, folks, along that offensive line. They got to perform better. And that's Justin Fry's job to get them there. The talent is there. You got to coach them up. And that's on you, Justin. You got to coach them up. Some reason Ryan Day gave you a pass. You gotta make it worth the while. So you gotta make it worth the while. But we'll see, because that offense on paper should be unstoppable. It really should be. That defense on paper should be dominant, because nearly everybody came back. So yeah, Ryan Day, he went all out, fortified some positions through the portal. And yeah, I don't want to say make or break, but dang, that just might be make or break, because the only coach in the conference that sort of got his number the last few years, he left. Speaking of coaching changes, Jim Harbaugh is off to the Chargers. And he's off. He turned things around. He turned things around in Michigan, and he left on the winning note, left on the high note. I always thought he wanted to get back to the NFL, and what way to go out as a national champion back to the NFL. He's with the Chargers. I hope he does well, because I like the Chargers. Chargers are one of my favorite NFL teams. Well, my wife, she likes the Chargers, so you almost gotta like what your wife likes in terms of football, because she at least should watch it if the Chargers are playing. But if they ain't no good, she ain't gonna watch. So hopefully Harbaugh can turn them around and make them good. So I'm banking on that, because he got to just banking on that. But he did leave. He left out on a high note. But like folks have pointed out, and it's not me. I told y'all, social media is my folks. You know, that's what the fans are saying. What the fans are saying. Despite his success, last 3 years, he does leave. Like all his other predecessors leaving Michigan with a losing record against Ohio State. I'm just saying. He leaves with a losing record against Ohio State, but he goes out on a high note, so kudos to him. But at the end of the day, he has a losing record against Ohio State like all his predecessors. Just got to throw it out there. I got to take a jab at you guys every now and then. I have to. That's what we do. We rivals. I gotta poke you here and there. It ain't no fun if we don't do it. It ain't no fun. And one thing, he left with a losing record, but he left. In Michigan, they stayed in house, and I know why they did it. It may not have been the best hire, may not have been what they wanted to do. But they saw what just happened at Alabama when Nick Saban retired. They stayed in-house. Sharon Moore, they gave him the job. And I'm thinking to mitigate folks leaving left and right, because that's what happened to Alabama. Not only did Harbaugh leave, but now you're going to bring in someone new who may not even keep Moore around. That might force other folks to want to leave. So I think they did what they thought was best for the program. You promote in-house. He was an interim coach for those games Harbaugh was out. He had a good record. So you promote in-house, make your players happy, promote from within. Now, and I thought it was a good move, given maybe if Saban was there and we didn't see how Alabama opened the floodgates with some of their folks, maybe they would have went someplace else. But they saw that and it's like, no, we ain't going to chance it. We're going to go with Moore and see what he can do. The only thing, though, when Harbaugh left, he took damn near the whole defensive staff with him. I'm like, so he ain't do Moore any favors, I'll tell you that. And some of the Michigan fans aren't happy with that. This Michigan fans aren't happy with that. I'm just, that's like I said. The Michigan fans aren't happy that he took a lot of the defensive coaching staff with him to the NFL. So Moore got some work to do. He got some work to do for sure. But I think they did pick up the DC from Baltimore, I believe. So if that is the case, that's a good filler in, or not filler in, but that's a good hire on that side of the ball if that is indeed the case. But yeah, my Michigan folks, just to touch about Michigan fan, because Because I posted something about after Michigan won the national championship, and I poked him. I made some slight references to what's going on. A lot of them weren't happy, but it's a rivalry. You don't post up about Michigan winning the championship and not think you're going to catch some stuff for it. I got some flag heat and everything else, and people say what they go say. But it's all fun. It's all good and fun. Thinking about when talking about the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, it's like not like Ohio State fans live in a bubble where all we talk about is Ohio State, even though it might seem like that. So I do talk about Ohio State a lot. But I got friends and family that favor Michigan, and like I was saying, we go back and forth all the time. It's a rivalry. We have fun with it. We say our crap. We say our stuff. And at the end of the day, it's a game. I got to talk stuff and crap for 9-10 years when we were whooping that. We were whooping that ass. So the last 3 years, they got to talk some stuff. It's what we do. It's a rivalry. That's why it is the best rivalry in all of sports, period. It is because it's long-standing, long-lasting, and it's not going anywhere. Even with conference realignment, it's not going anywhere. Ohio State, Michigan, it's a mainstay, period. So yes, when I get a chance, I'm going to talk stuff, and when they get their chance, they're going to talk stuff. That's what we do. It's all fun. Because I heard some stuff after I posted about them winning the championship, which good, but it is what it is. But it was good season for Michigan. I'll leave it at that. But Harbaugh did not do you guys any favor when he left. Before I move on football, we're off to a good start commitment-wise. You know how I feel about commitments now. I don't get excited until they sign the dotted line. Until they're actually on campus, but on paper, we off to a good start. Like I said, we off to a good start on paper. Got the top 2 cornerbacks in the class are committed on paper. We'll see if they actually sign, but the 2024 class, as that was being built, I didn't get excited. Until after signing day, until after the final signing day, and after all the portals are accounted for, all the transfer are accounted for. I believe we finally, when the dust is settled, we set it the number 2 class. Boom, again. That's why Ryan Day was never going anywhere. Ain't gonna take the chance of losing that class. And same thing with 2025. We're off to a good start. We'll see how it ends up. Hope we can keep it going. Hope we can actually get those guys on campus. But you would have thought after we lost to Michigan, after we lost to Missouri, the sky was falling, and it's been anything but. Tore it up in the portal, tearing it up right now in the early recruiting for 2025. So we will see. And lastly, just want to, because there's always that perception, I got to talk about some of this Kirk Herbstreit stuff. There's always that perception that ESPN is overly involved in what's taking place in college football. I think it came up. You can't tell any Florida State fan that ESPN did not emphasize or have some type of sway in Florida State getting left out. And I think Kirk's comments following that decision sort of bolster that argument. ESPN did not want Florida State in there. I think there's that's a conspiracy theorist goes. There's some credibility maybe that they had a heads up that Saban was going to retire, and they wanted Saban to go out in the playoffs. That's a very it's hard to debate that when you figure why Florida State got left off. Because it ain't like there wasn't precedence or the third string quarterback coming in and winning it all. Ain't like it ain't been done before. We know firsthand what a third string quarterback can do. We give it a chance to do it. Cardell Jones, anyone? It ain't like it hasn't been done before. So that excuse, they were a different team, yada, 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 because of the third string quarterback. They had just beaten the top 20 team the week before when they beat Louisville. I think that's just a weak argument that they came up with, and Kirk trying to defend that argument made it worse. And then still the stuff about Kirk and Dylan Raiola, if that's even the slightest bit true of him, and I'm a side with Big Ten over SEC any day. But if this stuff turns out to be true, about him trying to sway Dylan from Georgia to go to Nebraska. I think that's just wrong on so many levels. And ESPN personalities should not be getting involved in recruiting stuff, period. Because didn't we lose out on a recruit, Micah Parsons? Eddie George just spoke to him during one of the things, and all of a sudden he couldn't go to Ohio State. He ended up at Penn State because Eddie George interacted with him. Isn't that how Micah Parsons ended up at Penn State? Because there's something like that, or something silly that took place. But if this trumps that by far, if he actually actively was involved in Dylan flipping from Georgia to Nebraska, that's just wrong on so many levels. Something really should be done about that. I hope it ain't true, but from all intents and purposes, it seems like it is true. And if his stuff comes, I don't know what the punishment could be, because it's ESPN. What you gonna do? You ain't like you could punish Nebraska because he's not affiliated with Nebraska. So what you gonna do? How you gonna punish someone if ESPN execs are telling people where to go because it helps their brand? And again, this is the benefit of Nebraska, the benefit the Big Ten, but still, that's just wrong, period. But that's my 2 cents. So if it is true, I don't know what can be done, but Kirk needs to just commentate on football games and stay out of recruits and let them go where they're going to go, even if it is to an SEC team. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. But anyway, again, hoping you're enjoying this video. Like I said, it's normally after football season ain't much to talk about, ain't much to do, but it's a new era now. This is what it is. NIL, portals, a whole bunch of stuff going on until the spring game, till March Madness. So much, and normally ain't nothing going on. So normally ain't nothing going on this time of year. But you know what I did? For those who haven't seen it, a brother used to be able to run back in the day. So now I'm up there now, and there's this thing called the senior games. I participated in the senior games over the weekends. A couple years in the making, I'm finally able to go run. Check out the video of me racing. Got my competitive juices going again. So if you haven't checked that out previously, if you've seen me for the first time, want to see what some of us might do in the off season, a brother was out there racing. Get my race on back in the day, trying to live some of my glory. So check that out. Hope you enjoy that. Again, I hope you enjoy this video. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, please hit that like button. If you enjoy Buckeye content and just overall college commentary in general, please subscribe. Again, bringing it to you from a different perspective. I like to think from the fans' point of view and see what they saying and bring it back to you so you guys can come back and comment on it here. Like, again, stuff to comment on. Chris Holtman, too soon, too late, right on time. What do y'all think about Holtman? Chip Kelly versus Bill O'Brien. I think it's a good hire. What do y'all think about that? Is it a good hire? Justin Fry, should he have been one of the coaching replaced? Should he be one of the coaches that was replaced, but he's still on staff? So we're gonna see how that plays out. March Madness, do we need to win the tournament to get into the Big Ten tournament, to get into the big dance? Can Jake Diebler pull that off? So anyway, we're interested to hear your comments below. Please type them in. I've tried to respond to all my comments. And again, for folks see me the first time, please hit that like button. Hope you're seeing something a little bit differently, and I'm going to try to expand somewhat. Let's talk to more about more stuff other than Ohio State, because there's more going out in the college world other than what's going on in Buckeye land. So again, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And until next time, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.